Durrani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadisai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second-raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies tried holder and keep voice. They had no other choice. They even tried with Newton Dow, but a shot at the sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Little Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he won plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out Holford in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son. He made duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all our listeners, wherever you are, what part of the world you are, this evening, good evening, or good afternoon. Good afternoon to those of you in your cars, in a taxi, in your cars, in the luxury of your home. Some of you just arrived from work or on your way from work. Good afternoon. I know you are regular listeners. You are tuning, usually waiting to hear this program on evenings, and sometimes we are not always here, but today we are here, and we are our usual selves. We want to give you good cricket as usual. So good evening also to those of you who are on the train. I know some of you are listening to us on your little radio or your little on your phone. I have been told, listening to us on your way home in Brooklyn, Karma, those of you in London, in Chicago, and of course in Miami, listening to us, good afternoon, and we are happy to be here to entertain you. I am Stephen Matheson, and I am here alone at the moment, but not for long. I'll be soon joined by another umpire, Mr. Gerald Llanos, and of course we'll be joined by our next other favorite umpire, Mr. Ronaldo Roddox. He's in Austin, Texas, but he will join us online shortly also. So we will have the normal show. As you know, the show is coined in cricket analogy. It's the third umpires. We analyze what is in the news. We bring you information relative to geopolitics, regional news, and we analyze the thing sometimes in ways that you haven't heard it before. So we sometimes have information, sometimes we use our special skills, I should say, and give you information that other contexts of the story that sometimes was not, you weren't aware of. So good evening, and I am happy to be with you. The normal thing, we look at what's happening in the news, as I said, and so, for some reason, crime has always dominated The news has been for probably the last how much years, but of late we've had a serious escalation in murders and that kind of thing. And sometimes we try to analyze what's happening. So one of the things that is in the news a lot have been in the news in the last few days is the position of the Minister of Defense, that is Mr. Wayne Sturge, and the contradiction of the murders that has taken place in Belmont. And he was linking the one that took place in Belmont, the quadruple murders on the Lady Young, with the one that took place in Belmont a few days ago. And for whatever reason, there seems to be disparity. That is, the police are saying something different. They're saying they're not linked, he's saying that they are linked. However, he would have made a statement in Parliament, I think it was Friday, and Stuart Young is now asking that he be questioned by the police because he seems to have information that may help the police in solving the crimes. And that is all in the political arena. That is very often you have this kind of banter in Parliament, and this is what it is coming to now. So I await to hear what Wayne Sturge has to say and what the police has to say. But the police, I saw an article today where the police is saying yes, maybe Wayne Sturge should be asked to, should be questioned about, his utterances. Now, you do know that what is said in Parliament also carries with it a certain degree of it allows for persons to say things in Parliament that that is sometimes unquestionable. You can't bring it out and make it. You could say what you want about it, but it is not that they could be held liable in any significant way for what they say. But we'll certainly see how that turns out, how that pans out, and I await to hear what comes out of that. I have always said that if politicians, with all the zeal and all the energies you hear them speak with, if they would just use that to unite, to come together, to work together, to solve the problems that we have, then maybe we'll reach further and we'll reach there faster. But that's the nature of politics in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the things that I really wanted to analyze, because I don't want to go too deep into this crime thing and all this he say and she say and that kind of thing. But one of the things that I am always very concerned about is the root causes of crime. Why it happens, why it continue happening, and what are we doing to arrest it? What are we really doing to arrest it? Now, the truth is, if someone wants to murder someone, it had nothing you could do to stop that. Right? So while it might have, it's a personal thing, it might have its roots in people not getting justice for certain things, people feeling that the system not working for them and they taking justice into their own hands. It might have roots in all kind of different things for which we can certainly address. A man wanting to kill an one person wanting to kill an next person, and not seeing nowhere anywhere, any way that could be stopped just like that, unless you have some kind of magnetic system or some kind of system, AI system that could read everything that's happening and stop you in the act, right? So, but we certainly need to address the catalysts, the things that are there that are almost evident that would usually lead someone to wanting to do these things. And we said one of those might be equity in the system, that ability to survive. Some people just want to survive and they'll do whatever the thing they need to do to survive, and which in some cases might mean robbing or stealing or even killing people. And that to me is unfortunate, right? Greed and selfishness probably are factors that that play a significant role in the heightened spate of crime, right? But there are other things. Yesterday I was listening to Ingerfield talk about it was on the newspapers, where she was talking about the spate of road accidents, and she was saying maybe we should examine the psychology of people. Maybe we should examine what is going on in the country that makes people feel that they need to move faster, they have less patience. It's a whole psychological thing, it's people are not operating, the way they used to operate before. People are not free to do the things. There are so many restrictions, so many things that are causing people to probably not able to cope with life in a certain way. And therefore, as a result, you have more crime, you have more accidents, you have people it's a hustle and bustle, people just trying to survive, and not, I'm not trying to take away from some of the bad things that pervades the issue of crime and criminality, but certainly there are some things that we could look at on the psychological side that we can fix this whole crime situation, or arrest it, or bring it down to right now we're boiling, and if we could just bring it back down to warm water, that might be a good idea. So clearly the parties or the politicians, the only way I am seeing this happening is if we just come together and try to work together to fix this. Because all the talk we talk and all the rant and rave we making we in Parliament and other places, at the end of the day, crime affecting all of us. It's affecting the reputation of the politicians who say they could fix things. It's affecting the opposition. It's affecting families. It's affecting everybody. And if we could all come together and work this thing out, and there are ways we could do this, then certainly we could solve this problem. Our education system is another factor, another thing that we can probably, I saw that, and this is something for teachers, and maybe this might be a good time for Ronaldo, if you are listening to us in Texas, wherever you are, to join us. One of the things that I saw in the U.S. is being introduced in schools, some schools, and about to be introduced in some schools in Chicago, and it was a program that was formed out of Austin, Texas. Is an alpha learning program where, with no teachers in the school, you have AI exposure to students for about 2 hours in a day, and then they are left, and that is, they are exposed to AI learning all their core subjects like math, English, science, and that kind of thing. All the core subjects, they learn that through AI, and then they are engaged after through workshops. And that is a scientific approach that they are now going to explore, and that we don't know how. There are no There are no data to show whether that will work or how it will work, but that is something that we can probably start to explore. We don't want to be left behind. And one of the things that AI, the intervention of AI in the world today is showing that it is moving very, very fast. One, and it will change the way we see things, it will change the way we learn, it will change the way we work also. So a lot of jobs will change, and we see with this kind of intervention that we're talking about here, teaching will also change, because there may be less need for teachers. And that is something that I know we try to resist these kind of things, because we seem to want to remain in the analog state, especially in Trinidad and the Caribbean all the time. But we have to move with the time, because if we don't, it is not to say that teachers will be out of a job. It's just that there may be less need for teachers, or less need for teachers to be in front of the class. And I know it's already a frustrating thing for teachers, and that is something that is certainly going to affect the way we learn, or our kids learn, and it is certainly going to affect the way we see the world. AI, it is said that AI would probably create the most set of millionaires in the next 5 years, and it will also create the most set of unemployment in the next 5 years. So, and it is not that people could change what you do. There are so many. Yesterday we were talking on this program about money and how you invest and how you manage money and that kind of thing. And clearly, the time is coming when people will now have to start to think. Right? Thinking is not illegal, and it is still free. Right? We need to start to think. If we don't start to think outside the box, we'll be left behind. And that is exactly what we are seeing with these kind of programs. So clearly, this program out of Chicago, that they are now going to explore Alpha School and after Alpha Learning, this particular program is going to change significantly how children learn, and it may put some kind of enhancement to the education system. And I wait to see maybe next 10 to next 20 years, when it's already outdated, we introduce this kind of thing to Trinidad and Tobago. Right? So there are so many different things that we need to explore. And I don't want to sound like this is this hairy fairy space 1999 kind of thing, but these are these are serious. This is real. These are things that are really happening. And if you don't move in that direction, we'll be left behind. Good evening, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Matheson.
Yeah.
As you on this topic of the AI and those artificial intelligence, I remember about a month ago, 2 months ago, the other gentleman, I know him well, I know his father, Emerson Charles.
Right, Emerson John Charles.
Yes, he made a, very potent contribution towards an understanding of AI.
Yes.
And the need for us to proceed with haste, lest we be left behind.
Correct.
And he also identified a project that is being undertaken in Liberia. So I don't know whether, in fact, that particular project could be replicated in other communities, and whether we have the human resource capability, or, to extend it to those areas, I probably, which may be identified. But we ought not to be left behind. The world is changing rapidly.
Rapidly, very rapidly.
And we need to come to terms with that issue.
And you are so correct, caller. The thing is, Trying to be go. We view things like these as hairy fairy. We view things like these as, like long time when you watch Space 1999 and them kind of shows, you tell yourself these things not going to happen, right? But these things are actually happening. And if we could just embrace it while it's happening, then we would see the need to move to the next level. We'll see the need to move to the next level very quickly. You and I might be here for the next 30, 40 years, right? But if you just consider, let me just use another analogy. If you just consider the way the world is developing, right? If you look at China's Belt and Road Initiative, if you have no money as a country right now, but you could monetize your people to use technology in a certain kind of way, and you could allow, say, China to come in and bring the capital, build certain kind of highways and that kind of thing, and let your people pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. You're not paying a cent. And I think that's one of the ways the government is trying to go. But they're getting some pushback. But, with design, finance, bill, kind of, that kind of thing. And own, right?
Yeah.
These things are, while some may say it is not new, it is the way to go, because you don't have the money to do it. You're getting somebody to come and build it with a certain kind of efficiency and do it, and then own it, and then make back the money, and then give it back. What's wrong with that?
Well, you see, in this country, and in most countries, you have people, not that they are conservative,
Mm-hmm.
You have some people who just wouldn't get it. They're thinking is of the past. They're concerned with, they're not futuristic. They're not thinking about the future. They're thinking about now. And they think about yesterday, yesteryear. That is what occupies their minds. And apart from that, the people who they are led by make them believe that they ought to be comfortable with what exists.
With what exists, with what we was using 20 years ago and feeling with.
Yes. You hear, anytime you hear, and I'm talking about those are the leaders, you hear them in parliament. You could change nothing.
Yeah, correct.
If the government tried to do something different, it's an uproar.
Yeah.
We have to stay here. You hear the foreign minister saying that this is what we had. The former foreign minister. We were always neutral and doesn't understand that, hey, listen, the world is changing. Geopolitics is changing. And therefore you have to change.
Correct.
They don't understand that.
And this is why, this is something, even with that HGC issue with the contracts and that kind of thing.
The private public.
I really want to talk about that at some point in time. But you've been listening. And my mantra is always to go down that road, right? Trying to be able just to have the kind of investors to be able to do certain things, and if we are able to benefit from certain kind of foreign direct investment to be able to do certain things and pay for it down the road, right? Not through taxpayers' money, but you paying for it, if citizens paying for it. Then I don't see a problem with it. Because at least we benefited from the utility of it.
Yeah, but what is happening? You have to look at the mindset of the people and where they are stuck. The fact, if you don't have ideas, I remember reading some years ago about a guy called McKellen, and the next one they call Increase, and those people, we talk about modernization and whatnot. And what gets a country out of third world to develop status at that point in time? Now we talk about developing to develop, right? Ideas. You have to be creative. If you're not creative as an individual, you're not going anywhere.
Correct.
You'll be stuck. And the fact remains is that what you need in this country is people with ideas. You need people who are creative. You have people who are willing to take risk. And when I say risk, calculated risk. They're not about that. We still stuck. And this is why, if you look at Holness Holness has withdrawn himself from the Western CARICOM. He plays a very minimal role there. Mia Motley is capitalizing on the inertia. And she's going about, if you look at the African Bank, the headquarters is in Barbados. And whereas Trinidad, where it was, it remained in darkness, except for the fact that the Prime Minister, this government had the wisdom to invite the World Bank, which would now would contribute towards making Trinidad and Tobago the financial center in CARICOM and in this part of the world. So you have to be thinking. So I thank people like Sawat Singh and others who came here and came with the ideas, right, in order to have this, to change this country around. Else we'll be stuck in it, we go nowhere. But Mia Motley going forward, she take a leap and she said, listen, you see, all they don't want it, or they're playing stupid. I want the Exim Bank, the African Exim Bank, and the headquarters is in Barbados. We access loans, we do this small SME and all these different things. We have all that, and those you and the other countries, you have to come to Barbados, right? And we're able to attract foreign investment.
And that is forward thinking.
Yeah, and apart from that, what she did, you had where CARICOM and this whole question about that was signed sometime in 2006. I ain't talking about the right. But what happened here is that free movement of people and all that and whatnot throughout the Caribbean. She came up with ideas to develop Barbados in terms, because Barbados lack these skills in terms of tradesmen and whatnot, and right now they're experiencing a construction boom. And what she did, she made an arrangement with Belize, I think St. Lucia, I think, and St. Vincent, right, that foursome, and they have free movement among those people. But she's getting, because the population, the Bajan population is declining. It is less than 300,000. And they tell you by 2030, in fact, the birth rate, they measure the birth rate, and it will fall short by a lot. It dropped drastically. But she's thinking, but they sit down here and they're running down the road and party and Delphi and Maduro and this and that and Dragon Gas. Whereas other people, yes, they're looking for gas, they're looking for energy, but at the same time, they are creative. They're looking for alternatives. They're diversifying the whole approach to development. Not here. You have people telling them, don't take this what they call it, laptop. Don't take this, and tell them about AI this and AI that. The world, you people will be left behind. And I thank God some people made the wise decision to move away from the past.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Martis.
So this initiative that is Chicago School is now moving towards. That is the Alpha schools and the Alpha AIs, where there are no teachers in the school, and you have AI children are exposed to AI for 2 hours, and then they are exposed to workshops. It's a new kind of initiative. Countries and schools are now beginning to use. It's not just happening in Chicago, but it's happening in places like Europe and that kind of thing. And it will. Some people will be unemployed, but I'm sure they will be able to get jobs in other areas for some time.
It's really the right thing to say. Some people will be unemployed.
Well, good evening. Let me just say good evening to our other host, Mr. Gerard Llanos.
Good afternoon.
And I know you are big on AI and that kind of thing also.
Oh, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that way to go with respect to change in education or the education system?
So I've been on different. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Good afternoon, world. I've been on different media outlets speaking about Education 4.0. And Education 4.0, if it is that we we do some searching, we will find that Education 4.0 is a framework in which the role of the teacher and also the role of the student has evolved. So the role of the student in the age of AI is a lifelong self-directed learner. Learning is the number one skill that anybody has to have in this era. They have to be able to unlearn, relearn, learn for the first time quickly. Sometimes in a matter of minutes, hours, or days. So learning is a critical skill. And the teacher goes from being a disseminator of knowledge to a facilitator and a clarifier of attitudes and confidence and skills. So we are already past. I mean, that Chicago school is just the latest in a long line of institutions that have embraced Education 4.2 and other frameworks like it. And we have to be wary in Trinidad and Tobago. And I hear people crying, oh, how we have the children in front of the screens and this and that and the other, and screens. Foolishness.
No, but this is, I mean, there are also studies that shows that giving children just laptops and willy-nilly to do certain things, they will become articles or browsers as opposed to learning, right? Because computers and phones and things has been exposed to us and children for quite a long time.
Correct.
We still have a degradation in the education system to a large extent. People are more aware of certain things internationally, but we don't have directed or targeted learning in the way we should have it still, because people browse a lot as opposed to focus on certain things. And what we would certainly need is a more targeted kind of learning with this system. But this system that they're talking about in Chicago is a system where you're exposed to it for 2 hours a day. You learn, you're getting from it all the primary, all the things like the math, the English, and that kind of, that's what you're learning on that system. And then you're exposed to things like workshops and things like what you're doing, like lockjack and that kind of thing. And I think that is really a good kind or another kind of learning that will change the dynamics of how people learn and that kind of thing.
Mr. Matheson, now see the counter counting down.
Just now, let me take this call. All right, we lost that call. This guy called in a long time. But anyway,
yeah,
we'll call back, yeah.
Anybody who is embracing 2026 skills can drop cold into any topic now and be functional in it in an hour if they are AI.
Let me take this caller. Good evening, caller. I know you want to contribute to this part of the discussion.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Yano said that come a little bit closer to the mic.
All right. Caller, we going for a break. We'll I didn't realize you was going for a break. Call us back after the break, please.
On the street, 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows: Sunday worship service, 9 a.m., Monday Bible study, 6 p.m., Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
Midweek? We got you. Sandwich Wednesdays, 2 KFC sandwiches for just $50. Double the crunch, double the flavor, double the value. Why settle? It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
It's a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Third Empire Show, and joining me is my co-host, Mr. Gerard Llanos. Of course, we were talking about AI intervention and AI in schools, and there was a caller who wanted to talk with us just before the break. Let's take him. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Again.
Good afternoon.
And to your listeners. You said a lot, Mr. Matteson. However, there's a point where I must come in and disagree with you, which is that when you say you believe the government is heading in this direction, I truly do not believe that. The direction I see this government heading is in the direction of constant bacchanal, right? Because every parliamentarian is fully aware of what is upside down in this country when they are in opposition. And it's like they want us to believe that the moment that they win, things have been fixed, things have been addressed. There are so much things to deal with already, and we keep having more stuff to deal with. For instance, you see this last thing where the journalist Mark Bassan came out. I do support that type of approach where you want to spill beans, but you're unwilling to call names. But I'm saying that Ms. Prasad Bisesa has opened the gates for that type of thing to continue. You are the leader of the country now. The buck's supposed to stop with you. And all kind of their supporters is bashing Mr. Mark Basant because of what he did, right? But it is more or less amongst the same thing that Ms. Prasad Bisesa did when she made the allegations against the independent senators, and up to now, no redress for the country. They are still having debates with the same set of people who they alleged came to them asking for a bribe for their support. is a certain nonsense continuing to go on in the country. So I cannot say that this government is heading in that direction. And respectfully, I must disagree with Mr. West when he speaks about the change in geopolitics means that you have to make a change. It doesn't mean that you have to change your principles. Yes, you might have to make adjustments here and there along the way, but your principles you just throw away and just dash out the window. What about all the allegations?
What change did I say the government is, what direction did I say the government is heading that you disagree with? Explain that to me, because I know some things and I'm not too sure if you are talking about the same thing. What changed?
Well, I'm not sure exactly in terms of what exact point you was referring to, but in terms of all that you outlined, from AI
I was talking. I talk about a lot of different things, and I talk about them as some of the not panacea, but some of the things, the catalysts to crime, and how we could address crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago. And yesterday we spoke. I don't know if you listened to the program yesterday, but yesterday we spoke about investments and how people could use how people could save for the future, and how they could use that investment, that savings as investment. They could borrow from the bank, they save, and that kind of thing, to develop a credit rating and do different things, right? And the kind of investment you should go into and that kind of thing. And I'm saying that today, I was just looking at the issue of crime, because that is always on our mind all the time. And I was saying that there are different ways different things that we could explore to arrest or reduce the instances of crime. And I'm saying that, and then I spoke about the fact that the government is beginning to do things differently, right? But for whatever reason, Trinidad and Tobago, it might be different. It might have a bitter pill to swallow. You just can't deal with that. So some contractors might not be able to deal with the fact that the government not handing out taxpayers' money again, or borrowing money to do things. They are willing to go and look for foreign direct investment, for which they look at design, build, finance, construct kind of thing, and own, and that might be the way to go. And I am seeing the government probably is attempting to go that way, and people might be having problems with that. People still want the government to give them $3 billion to build a road, and $200 million to build a road, and housing and that kind of thing. When if you come with your own financing, you taking your own risk, we will now sell your houses for you to the people who need it. I'm just saying. But that is...
Yeah, I think I grasp what you're saying, right? So let me try to work backwards. Now, the right thing, there's always a process to do the right thing. And surrounding all the facts in this matter with this housing thing, it was said that the tendering process was not done in the right manner.
It was said that the government used a soul select. It was said that the government chose to go the way of soul select and AGC chose to go the way of soul select without justifying it.
Which is contrary to what's supposed to happen when you're going through the OPR, right? We could agree on that.
Yeah.
So that is one thing in terms of where they would have lost points for, right? Because you can't, because every minute they're talking about OPR, and now they get tied up in this way. They didn't follow the right procedure, right?
Correct.
That is one thing. Next thing is, the structure in this country is not a structure that facilitates or gives that drives towards progress or productivity.
So who changes it? Who changes it? Not the government, not the person in charge?
Well, this is what I get into. Because you see, Trinidad is ripe for persons to be productive and be profitable in terms of the amount of that they're able to earn. But when you have people losing hours every day to reach to work and to reach back home, right? That in itself take away from progress and productivity. If you could have eliminate the majority of that transit time, persons will have more hours to probably engage in a secondary job, right? Or something on the side for themselves, where you could have more income coming in to be able to sustain yourself and your family and your lifestyle and whatnot. There are certain low-hanging fruits, Mr. Matheson, right? We cannot be under SOE, and every time somebody dies, members on the government side is talking about Zoso. You have a SOE, right, which you're supposed to be using to your advantage. And you know what is the thing? Mr. Sturge recently in Parliament saying that he is convinced, right, that constituents from Stuart Young constituency is to put on the work and this and that and the other, right? He has no evidence, nothing more than hearsay. What he's saying is he hearing from the ground. The police come out and give a different story and saying they have verification for what they're saying. But this is the kind of stupidness that continues in our parliament. These are people who are creating laws for us to follow. And they always tell us, see something, say something.
And I'm saying
so
I'm saying to you, caller, I'm saying, let me just interject. I'm saying to you, it is on both sides. And if you listen to my narrative, I'm saying that if we only forget that kind of infighting and come together, right? We use that same kind of resources and that same kind of energy, we could fix this together.
You are so correct, Mr. Matheson. You are so correct. And I am one who have always said it exists on both sides of the fence, right? The challenge that we continue to have in Trinidad is we're not putting people in place who want to change that approach. So you will still find people who are in opposition now and who are in government presently still attacking each other personally on taxpayers' time, on taxpayers' dime. We are paying them. Why they're not getting a cut in salary when they choose to walk out of Parliament and not face the music, regardless of what side of the fence you're on? And we have to continuously wrestle with this. But I continue to say I hope that by some magic, people's eyes will open. You understand? Because these people in Parliament, they're not heading us in no direction towards betterment, you know. It's a constant attack, personal attack on each other and highlighting each other's shortcomings, but never that way you talk about coming together and sitting down, putting differences aside to come up with a workable solution to take the nation forward. This is the reason why we don't have a national plan that is so critical to any nation's development. Tomorrow, if the government change, something that is working for the country might change just so too, because we don't have a national plan that we are sticking to and following.
Correct.
You telling me we supposed to have a large amount of people using solar energy and all these different things in the country. We're not supposed to have the state running up bills in tea and tech and all these different things that taxpayers have to come and pay. And every time is for the people on the lower side to get a little breather. You're greedy, you're double dipping, we can't afford this, this is too much, it go overheat, it go crash the economy. But everything for the people who are well off and will never face a day of poverty, well, give them ham, lamb and jam. Give them everything. We need to be serious in this country and stop allowing ourselves to be used by these people that we put in power. We have to stay in a place where we're able to tell them where they're going wrong. And they are going wrong. All of them have been going wrong, as a matter of fact. Dr. Rowley have no excuse for the type of things he did before leaving the you know what the history he leave that we have to deal with every day in this country is every 5 years, unless the Prime Minister call an election, you try some sneaky thing and sneak in Stuart. Stuart was never the leader of a party, and the Constitution states that the person, the leader of the party with the majority, is better give Stuart the party if you want him to become the Prime Minister. But no, you want him to drive and you in the backseat holding his hand while he holding the steering wheel. Ridiculousness, and these things were allowed to pass. I don't know how the president assented to that ridiculousness done by Dr. Rowley. But this will continue, if you see us who continue to give them that support that they have not earned, they will continue along the lines that they're going. Anyhow, I looked on and listening, but
Right, thank you, caller. Right. Yeah. So
Strong views there, man.
yeah, well, the thing is, the caller is right to a large extent, and it is what we say here, that we had to have some kind of change in the mindset with politicians on both sides to fix Trinidad and Tobago, and the people encourages that too, right?
Caller?
Let me take this call. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening. KFC.
Hey, good afternoon, Marcuson and Mr. Roach. If I pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Well, I've been here still. Well, I'm not taking in Parliament there with the people who will people business, the highest court of the land, and Storchong. It's again. Using all kind of local word, using about the ramen and all them kind of thing. Them things going on the answer. You know the conduct. I find out the speaker of the house, he had to go. He play with them politicians and them. Because them papi shame people out there, people listening and children listening. So they want the nation to respect big men and women so getting on, so like little children in the parliament, man. That's because of Short Chung, he began Short Chung to apologize, Short Chung question he take the marshal and put that man outside the parliament. Something wrong with them leaders and them you know. And they want people to respect them. When they go by them asking for opportunities, there's all kind of thing in the end. That's why the crime is going up so because people ain't getting no kind of system when they go by them ministers and them there. Must have to operate on the radio station because management and stuff in the background say something in there.
I can't see. Thanks for your contribution. yeah. So you heard the where I was going with the argument, right? And why everything is connected. Crime, education, everything. So let me take this call. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I agree 100% with the previous caller. And what I want to state too is that if it is that you open this prosthetic center to help people, right? Thank God it's free and so on, and you get the donation from India. But can't you find a location whereby some days it could be a little more central rather than a man have to leave Kumana to go Pinal, understand? And then we coming up to the rainy season, most of the time Pinal will be underwater, so you can't pass. I wonder if they just think about these things. I mean, if you could have gotten an area around the Cuba Hospital or like that area, or anywhere a little more central, right? To the people rather than, I mean, going penal, and we need to thank the Indian government for supporting us in that way, whereby everything is free, as they say, and they have a doctor staying here with us for a number of months, which is good. But a lot of things needs to be done in Trinidad, and people are too much behind red and yellow. You hear callers calling one way, callers calling the other way.
And I want to be problems. we get caught up, we get carried away with the red and yellow thing. Exactly. When really actually we should be thinking country. We should be thinking country.
The pity we don't have a good, strong kind of leadership that could emerge in this scenario and come and really think red, white, and black and move the country forward.
Well, at least if we develop a culture where at least after elections, we know that the country, and if we do that, we will have what the caller was talking about, a national developmental plan. Because a national developmental plan should transcend political boundaries. Meaning,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter if all the parties come together to develop a plan, and we say this is the plan for the next 30 years, right? And we legislate it. Then it doesn't matter who comes in office. We have to follow it.
Exactly, because look at the kind of ignorance we had for the last 9 years, whereby, leadership doing things on their own, people, the Prime Minister doing things on his own without any consultation and things like that, as though Trinidad belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the people just take that so, you understand, we just taking everything so, thank God it's not another country, you know. You have to say this, you have to say thank God it's not like some people in some of the other countries, you know. But anyway,
you remember they said the most docile set of slaves came to this part of the whole, this part of the Caribbean, So we are different, obviously.
And look at a guy show you where the pitch lake alone could have paid all Trinidad bills, all our bills, could have run the country, the pitch lake alone, and the things that emerged from the pitch, right? And we had pitch, we had sugar, we had coffee, we had cocoa. You understand? And just going for the oil and gas yet. And we just come like the shanty town of the Caribbean. Other countries that don't have the kind of resources that pass through Trinidad have so much better living conditions and also even the tourism, they develop certain things and people go to those countries. You understand? Look at the type of cable cars and things that they have. Right? We could have a cable car going up to Mount Everest, you understand? Not the Mount Everest, this mountain in the northern range. Right? We overlooking Maracas and things like that. It has so much that we could have do with the millions that pass through here, but how they have the people, how they had us, and they just control everything. And these contractors, we've seen the same thing happening with the contractors now. You understand? The same situation, the same set of contractors. You know, and we need more transparency in these things, and the people have to come out and talk more. You understand? People have to wake up a little bit. We sleep, as you say, we do silence. You understand? So, and you see how they make the hustle that everybody, husband working, wife working, sometimes children home alone, and things like that. You know, it stretches out, right out. So, we really have to find a way to see how we could wake up and stand up for the things in the country. Right. And you see the same example as the previous government coming into play in some instances. I mean, they have a lot of good things in place, but the mentality, they need to change that. Mm-hmm. As you call it, look at Parliament. There's a bad example for the children and them, you understand? A very bad example. Anyway, take care and all the best, my brother.
All right, thanks for calling. All right, let me take one more call and then we'll continue to our narrative. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
Well, it's not a song for the play, but like hopeless, so negative. But I not seeing the thing change anytime soon. Because I think the two parties, they love it how it's set up right now. They have a 50-50 chance, a 50% chance, I guess, sitting in the seat of power. Mm-hmm. And they content with them odds. Mm-hmm. They know if they win this election, they could potentially win the next election. And I honestly think most of the problems in Trinidad, with the lack of development, is because they have no will to do it. Mm-hmm. If they had a proper vision and wanted to effect any true change, or take this country in any real direction, you would have seen it manifesting how they talk, what they do, what they implement. But you're not getting that. Right now it just seems like it's somewhat of a rat race to see how they could I guess fulfill some of the promises, and of course for them to live a lofty life and just keep the thing afloat. So you really feeling no true development. I mean, I start to say we just be talking, we have all the ideas, but they don't have the will to effect nothing or take Trinidad and Tobago in any meaningful direction. Any kind of change that come about is by out of necessity or by the way. It's never to say, well, hey, we're gonna do this thing direct, and this is the plan, and this is how we're gonna reach it. And the tactics to fight crime, how they does interact with each other, the kind of issues that have been discussed, or the lack of issues, I should say. And sad to say again, I think the majority of people or the citizens, they content with that. They content with jumping up with the party come elections. They will say I'm bored of this or that or this. They'll talk about they want to try something new, but around election time, something does go with them. And they'll just fall into one of the molds. And these politicians, they know that. So they'll say things to rile up emotion and, bacchanal, get a plate of food, get a jersey. Some people might get a little bribe money. And they know nothing going to change. They know that the formula, and they just going to keep it. So again, sorry to sound negative, but I not seeing it changing anytime soon.
Okay.
Because you're not going to get anything different coming out of any of these two parties. Anything they put forward will be a product of the party. So they will subscribe to the values and the ideas of the party. Otherwise, they wouldn't reach the surface.
Thank you.
Right, gentlemen.
Yeah. And that to a large extent sums up the way most people who are thinking feels about Trinidad and Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago politics.
But
right?
thinking people don't win elections, don't they?
Well, what was that?
Thinking people don't win elections.
Well, who win election is who have the majority, support. And the red and yellow and the euphoria that goes with it is what wins the election. But the thing is, at the end of the day, all what the callers are saying, and if you're not seeing it, right?
I have a different way.
Yeah?
I have a different way.
Okay.
So, there's a baseline that we have to set. And that is that on Trinidad and Tobago's worst day, we are a deeply prosperous, deeply progressive society.
But how we bringing all that so that all the citizens, the majority of citizens, can benefit from that?
So, this is...
And not see crime as a way out, or not see killing a man out of jealousy to take it thing and all that kind of thing. Not see that as...
No, you see, these are the problems we face with immature politics. There's a difference, yet a connection between governance, politics, and leadership.
Mm-hmm.
It's three separate but very connected things. And it is fashionable through politics to say that Trinidad and Tobago by some means is a bad place, and also that things that different governments do to improve the Trinidad and Tobago experience do not face opposition based only on politics. So for instance, we are very much, everybody can say that traffic is a problem. Once upon a time, a man tried to move some mass transit initiatives, and those things were almost universally fought.
Right.
And
but today we still have the same traffic that would have solved.
But we okay. This is
Who okay?
Huh?
Who okay?
As a country.
We okay as a country? Who say we okay as a country?
We okay with it.
We fighting up with it, but the thing is, productivity is at its all-time low. You see, you have to understand, well, not you, but the people who protest against these things and look at these small things like the small nuances, they have to understand the bigger picture, and they have to understand what you're trying to create will do for Trinidad and the majority of the people. And you talk about mass transit, but mass transit would have certainly put us in under view. I know you've traveled to places where there are mass transit and productivity is not a problem. People get to work on time. People, you don't have the nuances, the headache, the kind of accidents you're having in Toronto, there we go, per capita. You don't have that because people are not frustrated on the road. People spending 3 and 4 hours sleeping on themselves on the road sometimes. They get to work and from work.
But Mr. Matterson, let me point it out to you. Mass transit is not only train.
I know.
Hear me out. Mass transit is bus.
Mm-hmm. Bus too.
We spend untold millions of dollars on a bus network that by and large, unless you are very, very, very poor.
Ask people why they don't use buses and they will tell you. Ask them. We have an umpires be here. He will tell you. If you go to places like Singapore and things, well, a bus, if you know you could go out there and get a bus for 8:30, that bus will be there.
5 minutes before.
The bus is there waiting for you.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So the one reason why people don't use it is because it's not reliable.
But this is the point I'm making to you, Mr. Hans, and this is where we're talking about governance. If it is that it was politically possible to make these systems work. And when I say make these systems work, if you leave an unpopular gentleman like myself alone with the country for 5 years, and I know winning another election, no problem, I'll pull 60% of the cars off the road. And you have a choice. You could take the bus or you could stay home. There would be pandemonium in the streets. What you mean? You know what they do in Japan? The reason that we have foreign use cars available to us, 3 years and 2 years and whatever the case is Japan legally mandated that cars after a particular age have to be pulled off the road. We don't care where you send it to. A car drive here. And you can't compare Japanese society to Trinidad and Tobago society.
But that is just one initiative, but there are many others, You have carpooling, if you want to drive on the highway, if you want to drive on the fast lane, you have 3 people or more in your car, all them kind of things.
Voluntary measures. Because the politics does not allow for positive change. That is one of the features and creatures of our system. The politics does not allow for any meaningful improvement in the society except it's something where a contractor could eat a food.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. If it's a matter of
let me take this call. This gentleman calling now while now. Caller, good evening.
Good evening. I could hardly hear the gentleman next to you. And I tend to disagree. The two parties are not the same. The people who could have voted 10 years, they were 10 years under Dr. Rauli's, under Kamala Prasad leadership, they were 10 years old. And they get 5 years, they get a laptop. But then we hit a recession. Then we hit a pandemic. And it felt hard for some of them. Some of them didn't know what the vision was before. What the vision was for 2020. Today, I heard there's some seminar somewhere and a man saying, we need a more efficient transportation system. And I'm saying, wow, 20 years after, we still having the same conversation. We are government in office now who tell me they don't want the train, coming to tell me now they allow me to bring in cars for up to 8 years old. That will solve the problem. Mr. Matters, the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is because of the people that is in the opposition, a group of recalcitrant minority. The same people who tell you it ain't good now, then tell me the dragon the dead. We put all the eggs in one basket, Mr. Matterson. You can't stand up in a bucket and lift yourself out with taxes. And the same people today tell me they want to go and talk to Delcy. I have an oil spill happen a few days ago. Nobody ain't say nothing. The Venezuelan government had to make noise on the international stage to let we know what happening in our own country. And if you talk about it, everybody vexed. If you call on the minister, everybody vexed and want to tell me, that oil spill in Tobago. We had no oil spill in Tobago. The other man was probably pulling some illegal oil somewhere with a tanker and it get away. How could you compare that to what just transpired? That is the problem I have in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Matterson. When you use them kind, I have a man go in the parliament on Friday and tell the former prime minister that he is responsible for the crime in his constituency. Right? The police come back to tell me the argument that he had in the parliament that the two murders are connected together is not so. Yesterday he still stand up and say so. So Stuart Young now have to tell you, well, the police have to investigate him. And if that is the case, if the parliamentary representative is responsible for the murders in their community, then the man who get murdered, who was his sponsor, who is responsible for his dead boy? A group of recalcitrant minority, their mindset, the 2020 vision, what is our vision now? What is our plan now? Up to now, 1 year. They had a whole thing for 1 year, and nobody could tell me. You know what I did next? What I tell myself what happened? I see the High Commissioner come here, came down to Monas. What's the name of the island? What island? But it was quarantine on?
Nelson Island.
Nelson Island. Take him down to Nelson Island. And I'm saying, I'm waiting to see, Yesterday morning, a conversation come up. We want to change the name of Nelson Island. Why you think so? Well, I want to know Nelson Island as an island that would have called ships, not only Indian. That is why it was considered that, because you don't feel African ship. We was coming here before. You don't think we was quarantined as well there? Might be in the volume, but we was also quarantined. Not so, Mr. Matterson. It was an island based for quarantine. So this idea now that the man come here and all of a sudden the conversation is that we must change the island. A group of recalcitrant minorities. So if you don't know history, you have a group of people here intend to wipe out my history to put theirs.
When you say, clarify, when you say recalcitrant minority, you know what you mean recalcitrant, right?
Non-cooperative.
Non-cooperative. So who is that? Who is that?
The present administration. Everything that we had to move this country forward, when they were in opposition, they opposed it. As I just outlined to you, the dragon is dead. We don't want no dragon gas. When they get into office, them tell me, we go in Grenada and we go in here. And all of a sudden they want to go and talk to Delcy. Come on, Mr. Matterson. They keep trying to spin this rubbish on we. That is why we can't go nowhere, because there is nobody that is, I wouldn't say nobody, there is nobody in the opposition that, look, I have 2 housing projects that jump out. One under the Saddam Hussein and one under the next 3 clowns. Saddam won't end up in a problem. I'm 100 million, Nobody know how this, you ever go on, you give men 2 weeks. They put out a proposal in 2 weeks, you must raise 100 million. Design a plan. All of that for the building in 2 weeks. How that could happen? 2 people get the work. So in order for you to do that, how are you raising 100 million just so? In order for you to do it, you have to be prepared from up front, not so. Come on, Mr. Matterson. These people are trying to play with clowns. And we must accept. And on top of that, I have a group of black people on the state radio station trying to tell me black people committing crime and black people. So all of a sudden, crime is not a state problem anymore. Crime is now a PNM, black people community problem. So Zozo will solve that problem because we will be able to lock them down. And that's what we reach to, Mr. Matterson. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Wasn't that productive?
As you were saying, go ahead.
Yeah? Somebody else calling?
No, go ahead.
Wasn't that productive? A call, wasn't it a very productive call?
Go ahead, we were talking about solutions. We like to talk about solutions.
And the first solution is a political one. The solution is political maturity. Can we continue? Every day, and this issue of this elephant in the room of race and politics. On one hand, I am appalled at the racist innuendo that sometimes emanates on social media.
Me too.
Targeted towards people that look like me and you. But you know what? somebody once upon a time described the opposition as a recalcitrant
Minority.
and intractable minority. Back in them days, plenty Indian people didn't even speak English properly. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel as an East Indian person that is facing some of the same innuendo? So now it's swing back. And a lot of the racist innuendo is coming to black people's way. And it is the same non-productive politics every day that makes us not able
Well, I don't even
to
want to
focus
talk
on the
I don't
issues.
even want to talk about race and that kind of thing because somehow
No, we
I
do-
feel
we
I
don't
mean,
have a-
we
we
don't
not
really
talk-
have, we don't already have a racial problem. We have a fear for each other problem.
We have a
Kinda
small talk problem.
And we have a fear for each other problem. We have a classist problem in Trinidad and Tobago. And clearly, if you want to talk race, then both sides, both group of
Obviously.
people
So
have
look-
the same problem.
So look, you know, the same.
As
and
a
this
matter
is-
of fact, the black people problem is even bigger than
Of course.
the other side problem.
But I want to encourage everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, never talk that recalcitrant minority talk again. Because some people consider it offensive. And what we don't like for ourselves, as African people, we shouldn't like for other people as well. So you know what? If other people are going to use racist innuendos, leave them be.
But I don't
Let us
understand
not do it.
I don't understand how say recalcitrant minority is a racist statement. It's not really.
I am not saying it's a
While
racist.
it might connotate that because of how it was used in the first instance.
Correct.
It is not a racial statement.
Of
If
course
I
it's
say
not.
you are
Of course it's
recalcitrant,
not.
you're non-cooperative.
Of course not. That's not the issue,
and
Mr.
you are in the
Matheson.
minority.
Mr. Matheson, that is not the issue. The issue is Stuart Young cannot press forward a Dragon Gas deal. Or maybe Rudy Munira cannot press forward a Dragon Gas deal. Maybe Patrick Manning cannot run a rail, or he cannot open a smelter. Maybe we can't run Fusion. Good evening to the National Carnival Commission. It are all kind of things we cannot do as it relates to running a better country, which is not a bad country by any means. I reject any statement. You can jump on a couple planes.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a bad country anyway.
It's a great country in my view.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
I've been all over and I could tell you Trinidad is a great place. Be unique.
We have to learn to love our space and remember that in between elections, we have to create a better country. And if it is our position, it's because of your color, your jersey, you automatically wrong. We are always going to be fighting ourselves. And I am saying to those who are pro-opposition in this moment, or those who are pro-government in this moment, we have to understand that the politics, remember it's politics, governance, and leadership. Politics could cut the legs out from under effective governance, and it could change the rules that define what is good leadership and bad leadership. And who pays for that? We don't pay for it. Chirendo.
Well,
There's a problem
it's
there.
society pay for it. There are murders, there are all kind of madness
All
taking
kind
place
of
in Trinidad
madness
and Tobago.
taking
Right? Good evening, caller.
Yeah, gentlemen. Just how to put it. So I heard you call a couple previously there, but I mean, it kind of emphasize what you're saying. You need to move away from the is that one versus that one, because listening to the previous caller, it was says only one of the political parties are guilty of being hypocritical, whereas both of them are hypocritical. And I think people not seeing that once you I guess affiliated or support a political party, the other one is just the villain, and that is just it. They alone does do wrong, your party has do everything right. And it's both of them at fault. Yes, they are different parties, but both of them are hypocritical. and both of them are falling short. So I'm just saying that don't fall victim to that nonsense and the UNC and it's this and that. It's both of them. PNM had enough time to take this country in a better place. UNC had less time, but they just as guilty and not doing enough and falling short of what they promised. All right, so listening again.
Thank you, Paula. Yeah. So we were talking about solutions earlier on, and we were talking about how we could, some of the things that we could do to arrest the situation. And we spoke about, we ventured into the education system. We talked about the AI, the changes that AI is making. And we look at the Chicago school, and the program they are about to introduce. That program is a program developed in Texas, in Austin, Texas. And that, to a large extent, could help us change maybe the way people think, because thinking is a problem in Trinidad. That is one of the problems we have, thinking.
I disagree.
What do you mean you disagree?
I disagree.
Tell me, okay, explain.
Trinidad and Tobago people are more astute than most.
No, listen.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing, listen.
Yeah.
How you see all of our intelligence materialized?
How it's applied, you mean?
How you see our intelligence materialize is in how we think.
I don't think that you see there's a difference. There's a difference between.
Okay, explain.
There's a difference between cognitive ability and application, what it is that you apply it to. So we apply our cognitive ability to politics. We apply our cognitive ability to foolishness. We apply, so we have the best capability.
So that have no relation to thinking. So if you was thinking, would you do that?
Well, it depends on what you're thinking.
Good, well, they were saying.
Yeah.
So our problem is thinking.
Our problem is intentions, not thinking.
Gosh. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Our problems is intentions.
Maybe we could debate that.
Yes, we have to have better intentions. You know, me and you sit down here, and some of the callers that are expressing their view, they have the best intentions of Trinidad and Tobago. Their intentions are bigger, some of them, than what politics.
Bro, let me explain something there. If you've been around Trinidad and Tobago for so long and you see the kind of adversarial politics on both sides, right? Would it be easier to think that if these people come together, just think, these people come together and use all that skill all of them had, that same cognitive abilities, and just now that you talk about, for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago, right? Listen,
best place in the world.
Just now, so that is not thinking will make that happen.
Intention.
Oh gosh, but thinking come before that.
We have a different view there.
All right.
In terms of the nuance.
I don't know what other view you could do. I would like to hear what the callers have to say.
Yes.
But the thing is, Trinidad and Tobago, in my view, we could move further, faster, if we just sit down together and think this thing through.
Quite correct.
Right? And which is why a lot of people say that you have the nuances, you have the people on both sides who are divided and who will say that these are PNM problems, some will say these are UNC problems, some will say all kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we are all people and all of us want good for Trinidad. We want something for Trinidad and Tobago. And it has to do, sometimes the UNC behave in a certain kind of way because of the kind of mental pain they went through in opposition for years and that kind of thing.
Indeed, yeah.
So they feel that they are in office now and maybe they should do what they think the country needs to do. The same thing with the PNM. The PNM feel that they have a certain kind of ownership to Trinidad and Tobago, right? They feel that they developed Trinidad and Tobago. They feel that, I was reading something today where someone was talking about Eric Williams, I was talking about the Alexanders and the challenges with the Alexanders and their challenges with whatever is happening in court with fraternity and that kind of thing. And they were saying that Eric Williams had the same problem. Nobody are talking about it. The thing is, people will be people, and things happen all around. The thing is, we're not understanding our antecedents. We're not understanding why we are here. We're not understanding what we could do to make Trinidad and Tobago a better place.
You sure?
And that's the problem.
You sure?
Yeah,
You
sure.
It's a lack of understanding.
Well, is that a lack of Yes, it's a lack of understanding. Sure, is that a lack of understanding, right? But you know, let me take this caller. Caller, good evening again.
Good evening again, gentlemen. The thing is, the both of you all are correct. But because of how we are made up in Trinidad, you can't really generalize the statement. A simple example is just to look at what you know and pay close attention to the responses that you hear from some people. But I want to point out, you see that contribution from Bataria, I don't know when persons like that will really get their act together, I know. Because you come to highlight all the unethical things of UNC and leave out all the unethical things of the PNM as if it is not a combination of that have us here. Why do we have to consistently every minute be going through that with these adults in the country? And I want to tell them, if there is pro-government or pro-opposition or pro-yellow or pro-red, Ole is not pro-TNT. Ole is not pro-TNT because it have plenty things that could be done if any one of these governments was serious. We're talking about all kind of things. Why we are not aggressively pursuing trying to have something where you could drive from Togo to Tobago, where persons could pay a toll. You could pay it in US and all.
You talking my language.
We're not doing nothing in the country. Nothing.
You get more productivity. You can move anytime, any hour, anytime. You could. I mean, everything is so less restriction. You just pay for what you want to do.
It will have no shutdown of no air bridge and sea bridge and thing. Who want to fly will fly. You want to go on the sea will go on the sea. And who comfortable driving will take a drive.
Will drive. Correct.
And the thing is, it have to have priority. Priority. How many times have Tobagonians more or less had to be complaining about the shutting down of the air bridge or the sea bridge or it's not sufficient? How much years again they have to face that for? Then we hear in this talk from Mr. Maraj about removing the subsidy on either 1 or 2 days or how much ever. I said rubbish on it. So the people who born in this country are not supposed to benefit at no time. Subsidies is a bad thing now. Nations ought to have subsidies when they have resources that belong to the state, the people who live in there, the citizens of the land. It must have these things for them to enjoy because their contribution is what keeps the state going.
All right, so thanks, caller.
When these people, when they get serious, I will be the first to say that they are serious. Right now,
thank you.
Let me leave it there.
Caller, good evening.
Good
our umpire calling you from Texas.
I was listening to Yano's description of intention, and I didn't get to understand what he defined as intention. What was the distinction he was trying to make?
Were we asking here?
Yeah, I myself, I was trying to figure it out too because I was saying thinking is the problem, and he was saying intention is. So I don't understand.
All right. So what we have?
Because
just Mr. Ross. Let me use a good example. A good example is Trinidad and Tobago energy policy. So we have identified for a while now this particular cross-border field. It's not the only cross-border field, but it's the most easily exploited because the work is already done in the Venezuela side of the border. On one side, we say energy policy tells us that we're running low on gas. We are a little away from deep water gas, which we now starting to explore. We 10 years and billions of dollars away. Let's exploit this and keep our gas production and downstream industry going. The same people who now understand in 2026 the importance of gas we could use now were the same people who are vehemently against gas we could use now under the last administration.
Okay, but come to your point. What is the point?
The point I am making is the people's understanding of the issues is not in question. The people's ability to internalize something like fiscal policy or something like gas and no gas, whatever the case is, even the most basic people. You look at the discourse, the quality or lack thereof of the discourse on social media.
So that's intact.
People grasp.
That's intact.
That's intact.
Right. So what's the problem?
So the question is, am I as a citizen, whether non-aligned politically or politically aligned,
not bad intentions,
is my intention, is the application of my obvious intelligence towards I want my country to be better, or is the application of my intelligence I want my party to win?
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying about thinking again. so if you could just think this thing through.
So Janos, let me explain it through Stephen's analogy, which I like, and that is the one I would prefer.
Okay.
Because your scope is problematic. Because your scope assumes that people may have opposite or diametrically opposed or competing intentions.
Exactly.
But I kid you not.
Or interest.
Both people might have the same intentions. And to be honest, I do not assume, and this is generally me, that a politician, somebody decides to run for politics to raid the treasury. You understand? I actually believe everybody comes in there with very noble intentions.
Correct.
However, it takes a bit of intelligence to sift through what has worked, what has not worked. You know, apart from the intentions, it could be good, because you also have things that supersede intentions, which is history, culture, convenience. You may have good intentions, you know, but when you go in the ministry and you reach there, if you cannot think good, the culture will eat you raw.
Indeed.
Despite your best intentions, you will fall right into the trap. You will do exactly what everybody do. So I agree that there needs to be a different level of thinking, and Stephen emphasized it. Together, we seem to think our system tells us somebody must oppose.
Correct.
And you see that
we're going for a break, but when we come back, I want to engage everybody else on this exercise, on this discussion. So we go for a break. Now when we come back, we pay some bills.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Midweek, we got you. Sandwich Wednesdays, 2 KFC sandwiches for just $50. Double the crunch, double the flavor, double the value. Why settle? It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
All right, callers, we are back. And we just had to pay some bills there. And so we were talking about this this idea of nationalism and seeing things as, how we think Trinidad and Tobago citizens should see things, just like similar to an American or a Norwegian or whoever, seeing the big picture, seeing coming together, singleness of purpose. We want to get to a particular place and we need to get there. So we come together to work on that. Is it that our system does not allow us to do that, that Westminster system that we function within, or is it just a people thing, a political thing, a red and yellow thing? Is it that the 60% of people or the 60% of the voting public that are immersed in this red and yellow philosophy, they aren't able to see the idea of coming together, nationalism? Is it that or something else? Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, umpires.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers, listen to me. There are some people who don't see beyond the red, and it are some people who cannot see beyond the yellow. Mustard and ketchup. But you see, on the campaign trail, we don't vote in government and umpires. We just vote out government. When we're not satisfied, you vote them out. You see, on the campaign trail is where everything goes down on umpires. When I on the campaign trail, and I promise you a 10%. Now, when I promise you the 10%, me and tell you, when I win, me and tell you on the campaign trail, you will get the 10% if I win, and then you'll get the other thing in bonds, and I will find other ways to pay. I wouldn't tell you that part. I will make you feel that the 10% is money wrongly bought.
But you mightn't even know that part, you might have to introduce that part. Because you just want to, it's like, a man courting a woman and he tells you all the good things. But he tells her some of the bad things. So,
Vampire. That's how it does go.
That's how this work. So I trying to titillate your imagination, titillate your fantasy to get with me. I'm not trying to so I tell you what I need to tell you.
If a man had to get a woman, he wouldn't talk all truth. He go put some lies between the because it's
some innuendos.
Yes. So I have to sound good. And I have to get you to trust me. But I know what my intention is. My goal is to get you.
Correct.
But to get you, I cannot tell you all truth. I had to make some lies between like I'm not married when I'm fully married, and case maybe.
And as fellow Empire Ronaldo just said, nobody comes in with no bad intention. No, they all come in with some good intention.
I don't think the problem is the politicians. The problem is the politics, and the politics is the people. People get the government.
Yeah, and then look at the PNM. Look at the PNM. You had COVID, and the PNM did a brilliant job. Mr. Rowley and them did a brilliant job. So when the election came around, it was easy to put them back there because people showing gratefulness, gratitude, and all these things. But look what happened when they get back there. Right? Look what happened coming down in the thing in the last day where Mr. Rowley carry a few people in Tobago, had some kind of meeting, and you just had a vote and put Stuart Young there and Penny there. Unfair. And then the masses felt the unjustness that was done. And that caused them the election. So you can't mama guy you can't play a fool in Gone are the days, umpires, Long time when they cannot just vote a party for voting a party. Say people are intelligent now. People are thinking now. And once look at CPEP and URP. Why didn't the UNC say when we win the election began with a began with a CPEP and began with a URP? Why didn't they say that? They would have lost. But my intention when I win is to get rid of them, but I'm not telling only nothing. So at the end of the day, umpires, you see when you're doing good and you keep your word, you will never lose power. But what happens is that when both parties get into power, they don't keep the word, and people are holding them to their word.
Right, so they don't keep the word that they don't keep the word that you see. I think it's more than that, caller. I think it's more than that because you see, and people need to be able, Trinidadians need to be able to discern, right? Not everything you say you could do.
Discernment.
Right, discernment. Not everything you say you could do, you could really do. And we live in, you have so many shifting paradigms, you have so many things turning, you have so many geopolitical changes that makes it sometimes makes it less affordable to do certain things, give you a lesser ability to be able to do certain things. But the thing is, at the end of the day, people themselves, as our empire here, Gerald say, sometimes it's the politics, it's the people too, because the people encourages that. Sometimes we want magic in this country, without looking at all the other things that going around. Okay, so she said she giving you 10%. She say that all things being equal, but when you come in, things change. Things are as what they see it will be. So you have to find a way to give them but give them it in tranches in different ways. People still want to say magic, not understand. And if she tried to do that in the way she said she would have done it, you have problems. You hurt more people than.
The rightest thing that she should, you don't think that the rightest thing that she should have done is to get in there, see what the treasury looks like first, before saying what you're going to do and what you probably you could have said in the leading up to the election, I would like to do this and I would like to do that, because you don't know what the treasury looking like. You don't know what the treasury looking like on the other side. So when you make all these promises, and I'm talking about both sides, you make all these promises, you don't know what the treasury looking like, and then when they get in there, and then when they get in there, you're so shit. I can't do this and I can't do that. But look at the money that remains here, I can't do that. So now that you can't do it, the people don't want to hear that, You said you was going to do this, so umpire, you're correct, You're correct. Because though you had good intention of doing something, but then when you get in there and you realize what it have, you realize you can't do it. But the population don't want to hear you can't do it. They want to keep you at
the
your
population want to say magic. The same magic you
Yes.
tell them you can do. They want that. They want to
Well,
see
Mr.
people that
Lee said
have
that.
it out of the heart.
But
Mr. Lee said that in Parliament when they asked Mr. Lee proposed a lot of stuff. And when they asked Mr. Lee where he get any money, he said we go work magic. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. Yeah.
But and we know
Ronaldo?
And we know Mr. Matheson, and we know Ronaldo. Is that how we don't know? And we know?
What's that? What you talking about? And we know what?
And we know if we using the example we're talking about here, and we know that certain promises have certain consequences, yet we continue to press. Yet we continue to press the iron in the side of the in the side of the government to keep a promise that has a negative outlook. But we know, and that is my point. It's not about, and I am always the one to say, patriots wear all colored jerseys. It are patriots in every political party. So it's not about the politicians. Our politics does not allow for making the best decision.
Well, I think you're supporting the point. You're supporting the point that despite good intentions,
on the part of the politicians,
that's not how politics works.
There's bad intentions on the part of the electorate. That is what I am saying.
The bad intentions way?
On the side of the electorate, not so much on the side of the elected.
No, I don't think so.
Because if the political pressure was to do the thing that is best for our country, that's what the politicians would have to do. That is not where the political pressure lies.
Listen.
You dealing in utopia, you know. You dealing in
Remember.
You don't understand this thing.
Yeah.
Remember, the electorate were fed a particular diet, you know. Do not say they had bad intentions, you know. Survival is a human instinct.
Survival is a human instinct.
So when you see people running down to pave the road, to get the water, to get the lights, all that you're promised for, you don't have bad intentions. You want them to fulfill the promise. Remember, they're just trying to survive, you know. Nobody didn't ask you for something in Westmoreland, you know. The things that people beg and plead for are really on the lowest rung in terms of provision of good. When you look at the social contract that politics is based on, those are the basic needs, you know. We ain't talking about gold, silver, and myrrh, you know. We're talking about road, water, light, food, and these things. So when you feed them a diet of that, for instance, the talk now is to wean yourself off the government. That sounds good, you know. But you know, there are some families that have been in URP, to Dude, to Lid for years, generation after generation. You know, there's some families have been entrenched in certain public service sectors. You go Wassa, you might go Tech, you find uncle, granny, grandson, nephew. Good. And politics does that. It creates that appetite as well. So I'm not saying, but where Stephen's point is important, it's a kind of intelligence and thinking that is required to understand that, listen to me, you can't get this. And if you get that, you have to give up that. Don't take that for granted, you know. Sometimes we compare ourselves with first world countries, but we're comparing ourselves with people who have had hundreds of years of figuring it out, you know. This is a young democracy, you know. Very, very young democracy. And sometimes you see the remnants of slavery right there in the way we think. So it requires a little thought. So what I'm saying, the good intentions, I think, exist on both sides. Good. You could say anything when you're in opposition. When you're in government now and the reality hits you about the budget, about the treasury, you start to arm, back. You have to do all kind of things. The people don't want to hear that. So it takes a re-engineering of thought. But the example must be set from the two people who are having the discussion. But if one sees themselves as to oppose, and the next one sees themselves as to bring manna from heaven, what do you think we will have? A magic show?
A magic show, they were saying. It's a magic show.
It's a magic show. because I tell you, I calling down God, and you telling the people that you are bringing fire. You can't bring no fire, you in opposition. You can say what you want. This is our politics is a totalitarian system. You could say what you want in opposition. You could beat bongo drum and march up and down the road in opposition. But even as government, you cannot make fire. You don't print money.
You don't print
make
money.
things happen.
You don't have that kind of control.
You don't.
This is why.
So all what you say.
This is why,
Yes,
Ronaldo, I was saying earlier on, I appreciate where this government want to go. I really do appreciate where this government want to go in terms of the plan down the road and how they plan to utilize foreign direct investments and that kind of thing. Some people may not on the other side may not necessarily want that for two reasons. One, it might make them look good, and two, the regular diet for contractors may not necessarily be there, because now you have to utilize your money, and you have to be more prudent, and you're looking to it's your money spending, and you have to try to get it back from the government through selling your houses or in cases if you're building roads or through toll and that kind of thing. So, but it's a good model. And is a model is what the Belt and Road Initiative is about also. Right? Is what that initiative offers to countries like Trinidad and Tobago. And countries all over the world are taking it up. Some people are seeing the small pitié that might even materialize long after 2 generations after they die. Because if a country like China is saying we will do this for you and we will own it, who cares who own it? The fact is we get any utility of it.
Well, let's dig into that for a second. We just talk about it's technically possible and honestly not that expensive to cut a tunnel from Tobago to Trinidad. Can you imagine the uproar right now if somebody, you're talking about $1 million US per kilometer, they're about what, $1 million to 1.5
per kilometer?
Per kilometer.
To do what? To build that?
To cut tunnels.
That is not even that's a little bit of money.
It adds up. But the point of the matter is, if it is you create a toll road between Tobago and Trinidad, it will pay for itself at some point.
Of course, but people not seeing that.
You could imagine the uproar if somebody say, here what's going on, one of these big infrastructure companies, whether it's China, French, whatever the case is, we give them a bolt and we cut in a tunnel from Toko to Scarborough. Partners, they will ball corruption with a capital C-O-R, however you spell corruption. They will ball to like 10 cow. How it is that they could let these people come and think.
Because they're not thinking. We talking about thinking. You're not thinking. You wouldn't even. You wouldn't benefit. You will benefit from that for the rest of your life, and you had to pay nothing except to pay to use it.
But the problem is.
And you using it. China can't use it. It's a Trinidad.
The problem is who benefits is a much bigger issue than how we benefit as a country.
Okay, so tell me who benefits?
Huh?
Who benefits?
Well, it doesn't matter who benefits. It matters what people think or what people say.
Well, to me for me. If I run any country, it's not what people think. It's what kind of utility I could bring from a system like that to the people who are trying to be good. Because at some point in time, people will wake up and see the benefits of it, right? Some people it had to beat them on the head to think,
Yeah, but I could tell you something. The bacchanal behind, because the bottom line.
But that's what going on right now. Look at the bacchanal what going on right now, that HEC thing.
That is correct. I think people don't know.
People look at the little things and forget about the big thing. They don't even see it.
The fact of the matter is we do not have the cash we used to have. Where we could put out $5 million and $10 million on infrastructure projects. We have to do these things via partnerships. But who gets in the partnership?
But what's your say on that, Ronaldo?
Well, as far as my understanding of that issue is that is not even government funds. And I think, from my understanding, I stand corrected, the government is the guarantor of the deal
that
will go between the partnership, right? But if one side thinks that their role is to poke holes in the piñata, right? No, if you're thinking, right, your ego will tell you you're losing political points. That's what one ego will tell you, right? Because people expect you to oppose. But there are people from your own constituency and party and area that will benefit from the provision of more housing.
Of course.
Then you have to look at the spin-offs for crime.
They're not seeing
you have
that.
to look at the spin-offs.
They're not seeing that. They see the politics. They see the politics of poking holes in it.
Why you think they're not seeing it?
They seeing if we poke hole on this, the government wouldn't get this done, and if they get this done, we will be able to say they come and say they're building 15,000 houses and they build none. That's how they see in politics in Trinidad and Tobago.
Janos, we've been taught that politics is adversarial.
Yes.
But you could be adversarial, but you could be adversarial based on common sense and logic. But we believe in opposing for opposing's sake.
Yeah,
And we have done that traditionally. We've been taught, we've been fed that. So if you look at all our electoral systems, forget national politics. You could go into union politics. Anywhere there's voting, in Trinidad, there's rum, bacchanal, busting mark, talking about your mother and father. And then we believe that is. And if you listen to public debate, look at the US debate. As dumb as people think Mr. Trump is, listen to debates, look at public debates, look at British debate, look at other systems of government where you have people discussing issues and how they affect and statistics and the use of graphs and data. And look at that. When the American elections are held, all presidential candidates go around to universities and schools. They go around to the factories and talk to the workers. You can't tell them God coming on a plane. We buying dreams and people selling. That is absurd. That is absurd politics here. A country can't progress with dreams and people buying and selling dreams.
So, you bring up that
So the discourse must change from the national level.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
You bring up that issue of debates. And we continue to have politicians who refuse to participate in debates.
Well, debate.
Of course.
Well, you go on to the mechanics of electioneering and that kind of thing. I mean, the debates is not just what we see on TV with Trump and Hillary or whoever.
But we're not talking about Trump and Hillary, we're talking about Trinidad and Tobago
politics.
No,
but you talking about that kind of debate. But debates are always there. You hear it on the political platform. They say something, you say something. That is debate too.
But the political actors have not been willing to stand up in the same space and speak about issues.
But then it's the same thing, you know. I mean, it will create the same kind of adversarial, you know. I blame you for this, you blame me for this. That's trying to make a politics.
No, Stephen, I'm talking about something different. I think Janos is right in this. We're talking about a different type of discussion. When you say something and I say something, you campaigning. That's not a debate. Nobody's there to rebut you. Nobody's there to mediate the discussion. Nobody's there to fact check. This is where debates have gone.
Right.
Fact check. That's how people say. That's how people say, well, Mr. Trump, you don't really talk facts. Because right after he said it, there are people who are sitting there who will check it. You can't go and sell dreams. No. Paradoxically, he won, right? But you cannot go and sell dreams. You can't go. The world past that. People have Google on their phone. So we really, if what you're saying is to happen, and we have to start thinking, then just like the Greeks and the Romans, we have to raise the level of our discourse on both sides. Sometimes you listen to Parliament, it's a stone pelting. That is not a debate, you know. That is not a debate. Because our essential part of those type of debates is to provide solutions. You listen to the British Parliament. You listen to them. And after you tear into Mr. Starmer, you have to tell us what will work. Which is what you do on your program. Does it make sense we come on the radio every day and just point out what the PNM do and what the UNC do? That is retarded. That is a type of show and discourse we don't want. Because I play tennis. I to you, you to me. And that's what we've been doing with the people. So I think I agree with you that we must think. And thinking must be part of our culture, our analysis, our education system. Now, how do you do that? There are many, many different schools of thought, and you have people to help you think. You have technology. You have technology which helps you. You don't have to be the know-it-all anymore if you have a phone.
Correct.
You don't have to regurgitate content if you have a phone. You may still be called to analyze and apply because context varies and AI may not give you context. Because when you Google blood sugar and blood glucose with the AI, it will tell you certain things and then it will say, if symptoms persist, please see a doctor. You know why? Because the AI is not perfect. And what the AI is prescribing for you may not work.
Well,
But you
one
will
shoe
have
mightn't fit all.
information.
One shoe mightn't fit
Yeah,
all.
yes. Correct. Correct. And that is where intelligence comes in.
Exactly.
That is that is where thinking and all the things you've said, Mr. Masterson, comes in. But is that part of our culture? I don't think so.
It isn't.
We like to bust mark.
Yeah, we ain't thinking. We talking something and we ain't understanding what we say, how it's going to affect somebody else, what to say if it's true, what to say if it is wholly true, or if it's something somebody else say. I mean, we have so many different. It's so sad the way we think. It's so sad the way we analyze things. It's so sad the way we utilize education and intelligence. Is not even funny. Right? But as we on this, you know, we like to talk about the global economy. We like to talk about geopolitics. We like to talk about Trinidad and Tobago, in particular, in isolation. And I was hinting, what I'm going to say now, when I said that sometimes promises are made before we get into office. And then when we get in office, we realize because things have changed geopolitically or otherwise, and a government have changed in the US or something changed, and then we aren't able to do the things we say we might be able to do because of some other global factor that is affecting our decisions in this small, tiny pebble country. If you look at what's happening in Iran, I don't know if you're following what's happening in Iran.
I am.
But the US over the last few days have been trying to put a lot of pressure on Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz, and it's backfiring significantly.
Other way around.
Yeah, it is backfiring significantly on the US. So much so that a whole new regional order is forming. And it is going to have some catastrophic effects on America's hegemon.
Already has.
Right? And that, to a large extent, is something that will affect Trinidad and Tobago too. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon again. I must congratulate you all and even the morning program too, whereby people can voice their opinion, and you all, I mean, it's being discussed and so on. Unlike other stations, once you go a certain way, they want to cut you off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a good example of what you all are discussing. Did you see the 100-day by Mandani, his 100-day in office?
An example, sir, of astute politics. Of
Yes,
evolving
correct.
The measures he took, like with the rent and whatever and so on. You all have seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. we have a year in office. But unfortunately, you know, there are a lot of examples we could look at, but you see, the movement of any government must involve the people.
Caller,
To a great extent.
Caller, I can point out something to you, sir.
Yes?
Mandani as proverbial towel head. You know, they like they like for that particular ethnicity. Was greeted and congratulated by Donald J. Trump. He was, even though he is in a different party, he was given a certain level of respect and a certain level of quota.
Mm-hmm.
The normal political rules, in the same way the normal political rules do not apply to Donald Trump, the normal political rules did not apply to Mandani. And Mandani managed to do something. This is the first U.S. state that has raised taxes against the rich. something that has been stated to be politically impossible for the longest while.
But he had said that in his campaign, isn't it?
Correct. So we have to understand that it validates exactly what it is we're saying. That politics has everything to do with it, and what a politician is allowed to do has everything to do with how it is, how anybody could balance our budget in 2026. New York balance our budget. And it was because of, do not miss it, the politics of the day. So I am saying to you that our ability, even as a country, to make some of these goals a reality, not necessarily balancing our budget, but balancing our budget.
It must involve the people to a certain extent.
It must be allowed or driven by people. Otherwise, the politician will have no choice but to step in line.
True. All right, well, you'll take care. Continue with the good program, but you see, it must involve the people to a certain extent. You understand?
Otherwise, you'll have what you have now. You'll have runaway crime. Nobody even understanding why it happened. we had to drill down to why it happened. The people, listen. Yeah, if you go back down to Maslow, just go back down to Maslow, right? You're not able to rise to the next level if you haven't satisfied the need of the level before.
Yep.
I mean, that's serious thing.
It's too much of a fight down too. Too much of the yellow and red. That's one of the biggest problem we have.
That's a serious problem.
Yes. Take care, gentlemen.
Yes.
Have a good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Let me take this call. Bataria, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
You see, when we get the problem with yellow and red, it's not yellow and red. It's African and Indian. So let me point. A gentleman made a statement. PNM was in office for the longest, right? So if the PNM was in office for the longest, who could lead the people to think in a particular way besides the opposition? Because the opposition want to get into office, and in order, you have to tell the people a certain narrative. Because let me point something to you. Saddam Hussein went to the university that they opened in, what do they call that university down there? They have a university that was left, that they were started. Saddam Hussein went there.
The DB campus?
Right, at the DB campus. They launched at the DB campus. And here is a statement. We opened the DB campus, and because of geographic discrimination, it was left unattended. There is a narrative. You see the word recalcitrant? Because of lack of understanding the meaning of the word. That's why this gentleman said it is disrespectful. You know why? Because a group of people took that in a meaning that the Prime Minister then was referring to the entire East Indian community as a group of recalcitrant minority. And based on that, the opposition pounced on that and placed a racial connotation against PNM. I just call a particular radio station. A man call and tell that Vincent Channel, go back where you come from. Use a Hindi word. I don't know who tell you to use a Hindi word. Until our society do not get rid of that narrative. Because there's a group of people believe Dr. Eric Williams bring a group of people from St. Vincent and Grenada in order to vote. Otherwise, they would have been in office a long time. So when you see yellow and mustard, it is not just that. There is a racial war been fighting here for the longest while over power. We have to admit that first. Because you know why? People tell me, I tell you after yesterday, a man tell me, go back where I compromise of intention, I have no right to say nothing here. Because 100 million for is not, as Mr. Matterson said, every PNM making noise because if the house going to benefit all. We ain't making noise about the house. I don't mind how much house you build. It is in the manner in which you give the contract. Because if I didn't say nothing, if what I say didn't make sense, why does it have to stop? Correct. That is my job, whether in opposition or not. My job is to look after the welfare of the citizens' money in the way it is spent. Not so. and it seemed it was going down a wrong road. Whether it's private investors or not, I had to pay it back. So I made a point, and my point seemed to be validated where they had to come and stop it. It's my fault that the person who is in charge of it didn't go about it, and then he jumped out and said, that had nothing to do with me. He's not the person who will look after the contract. I said, I'm response. So in the parliament today, you have a whole for the prime minister, the speaker of the house, want the former prime minister to apologize because you mentioned him as a girl. But they are also very disrespectful. So let me point something out to you. The reason why, first of all, you have to always remember, 100,000 people didn't vote for the PNM. And that gentleman there a while ago explained that to you. You know one of the narrative why they was upset? Because Dr. Rowley decided to put Stuart Young and not Penny. You understand that? So 100,000 people didn't vote. Otherwise the UNC would not win the election. First things first, we got to admit that, understand that. So the UNC is in office. And don't tell me they didn't know, because the same people was telling you the country have no money. The Prime Minister them ain't doing nothing to run the economy down to dry. So when the question was asked, where are you going to find the 10%? They said to us, don't worry, we are going to find it. Can you defend that, Mr. Matterson?
So you agree that the PNM run the country dry? That's what you just said?
No, I didn't say that.
But you said that.
I said the opposition views at the time that the PNM run the country dry. That was their argument.
And it didn't have no
so
money.
When the question was posed to them, how are you paying the 10%? They said to us, don't worry, we're going to pay it.
You agree it didn't have any money?
But the Prime Minister said that to us in the early stages, tighten our belt until we get the gas and so and so, because our economy, and we're not taking the IMF bill, we are going to swallow.
That will be in 2027.
Well, we're hoping.
Right.
And this administration, when they promised us, at the same time.
I just going through
but
a
the point is,
logic,
this administration, and hold on, and you know what, as you asked that question, you know what is even worse? I was promised you in 2027, right? But I had CPEP still, I had URP still, I had forestry, I had the people who go and take the farming program for the 2 years, but I get a piece of land. All of that I still be getting in 2020.
But Bataria, listen to this logic. I like to deal with logic. You just agreed that, and the former Prime Minister said it, the
economy had slowed down.
We don't have the money.
But again, you just outlined that the reason why they can't promise it 10% is because when they get into office.
But you still have PNM people, and I don't want to go there, but I'm saying it.
You're sounding like you're making my points.
You still have people in the country who saying that the government not doing what they plan to do or they say they'll do. If they don't have
yes,
money,
Mr. Matterson, because that is the point I just was making to you, Mr. Matterson. All right, so let me point one more point and I'll bring it back to that point. I'll outline it to you. When the question was asked, how are you going to pay the 10%? You said, don't worry. So you cannot vex with the people's expectation because you said to them to fight. Don't worry. As you just said, I'll create fire. So who fooling who? Is the opposition who is now the government, who telling you now the same thing that was being said to you by the part. That's why the man said they don't vote out they don't vote in government, they vote out. Because of, and here was even worse. In this time we had data analytica. On top of that we had that information, and then we had bloggers. It is the first time we was able to use social media to get to the 17-year-old and the 18-year-old, and where the Prime Minister could tell you she did like Trinidad music, and bring along a man who was a Trinidad artist to get the youths to vote. That is what happened here, Mr. Matterson. The population was hoodwinked.
Politicians do whatever they had to do.
But the point is now that you're in office, the population expectation cannot be fulfilled, and you're telling me now, sit down and tighten your belt. I was told the same thing months ago, and you were telling me, no, don't worry, them lying to you.
Mr. Barataria, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What's the point you're trying to make?
The point I'm trying to make, as we saying, we want true governance. And the idea to get true governance, we must admit that it's time that politicians actually come and tell we, hey, this is what happened here. Because in Singapore, that that rhetoric that the Prime Minister now spewed then as opposition leader should have been arrested for telling the people lies.
Let me take this call.
Enjoy evening. Thank you.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
What Mr. Barataria said was so good, so true. Mr. Barataria, thank you for that contribution. Because I am saying, when I heard the PNM people didn't go and vote because was Yochung, and I'm saying I never knew from since in the days with Dr. Eric Williams, the PNM was a mixed party. You had O'Halloran, you had Kamaladdin Mohammed, you had, what's the guy name? Ulrich Lee. Was all inclusive. All of a sudden, and there was Stuart Young. Well, I say, what the PNM people getting, let them take it in their person. You know why? Because they end up like the dog on the bone. All of them were singing yellow is the code. As the UNC come in office, they rest the hurt on them. There was Basil B. You think Dr. Rowley could win an election, get the support of people, and then fire them, send them home? Man, they would have to call out the riot squad in Port of Spain. Yeah? The SS Roosevelt would have reached Trinidad long before it reached last year. But Khadija Amin did it, and all of them keep quiet. They're shame because they put them in office. So I don't sorry for them when I hear them. And this, and that, and this, and they fire we, and this. All you look for Coco that sing the calypso. All you look for that. So take all you're getting at this here KFC. KFC this be on every radio station. All 2024.
Look, you trying to call right now.
KFC used to, what you said?
Look, you trying to call right now.
All, he must be calling to tell you, help him. 23, 24, KFC, whenever KFC make a contribution, when he finish, he used to say, fire, burn the PNM. Now, he cussing the UNC. He can't get his grant. He can't get food card. KFC are waiting to hear you say, fire, burn the UNC. You all have a blessed day. Reach home evening. Reach home safely.
Okay, thank you, Gola.
That was productive, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, no, but I was before all of this, I was trying to say something about what's going on in the Middle East, right? And I was saying that what we are seeing now is a serious changing of the order. Because certainly Iran is presenting not just to the US and Israel, but to the world, a position which is waking up people, open eyes, right? America is not as strong military as they thought they were.
I disagree.
Eh?
I disagree.
Right?
I disagree.
And well, if they are,
but a strong military don't win a war.
Right? So you see, Russia now, amidst all what they went through in Europe and what they're going through, they are now putting Zircon missiles in the mountains of Iran, which would mean that the best super carriers America have could sink if they come around there.
Of course.
Because none of them could stop a Zircon.
So the heart of the issue is, and this is, America has been running, it's not that America don't know. America has been running war games, simulating the situation with Iran for the past 20 years, and every time they run a war game, they just lose. It's a zero-sum game and they knew it. But you know what? Russia could steamroll Ukraine. It have no two ways about
Of
that.
course, but Russian fights all differently. Russia could steamroll
But
Ukraine.
you know what?
Long time they could have they could have mashed up and kill everything in Ukraine.
You know what? Cool. If that we play, let me play. And the Russian economy grew.
Of course.
As a result.
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
So I am saying to you that, and I mean, you know, you and I always joke about the TVs. It is telling that the United States press regime changed in Venezuela before they went to Iran. And the fact of the matter is, the expense is too high, but the US could steamroll Iran in the morning. There are no two ways about that.
At a huge,
insane
at an insane cost, which will be devastating for America too.
For the world.
For the world.
Yeah, and if you had to remember.
So then they can't do that.
Cannot do it.
They cannot do that.
Yeah? No.
Because Iran will destroy the Middle East.
That is the bottom line.
And destroying the Middle East is destroying the world.
Bottom line. You just can't fight it. So, what we have to understand, and I see this is where if I'm being dispassionate about it, Kamala was astute when she started to align to the U.S. sphere of influence when the U.S. was short on friends. Because what the U.S. is essentially doing is creating the conditions to move the primary provider of hydrocarbons to the West from the Middle East states, the Gulf states,
to this part of the Western Hemisphere.
And what is going to happen as a result is nobody is going to invest in LNG plants and melamine plants and this and that and the other in Venezuela when you're pipeline away from some of the best gas processing infrastructure in the world. Trinidad and Tobago's economy, assuming that this play, and the play is obvious to anybody watching what's going on. The U.S., within 3 years, I am predicting the vast majority of hydrocarbons in the West are going to be flowing out of Venezuela. Because look, the Gulf states, all of them depend from OPEC.
Well, not only depend from OPEC, they're forming an alliance now and away from America.
They say they're ready to dub the petrodollar. So we're looking at all of these things going on, and if we're being honest with ourselves.
I mean, when you saw that Israel was obvious, it was the obvious madman in the whole thing.
The aggressor.
But I understand the moral philosophy, the moral high ground she took, and why she took it. Even when the Americans was blowing up boats in the Caribbean and affecting the Caribbean, she supported America over the Caribbean. And I was wondering, I still say, no, the thing is just morals. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a moral imperative. It's something that you have to really, and Ronaldo always used to say it. I mean, it's not necessarily the best thing morally, but you had to have take some high ground. And the moral imperative for her was to support that for our own safety and our own economic survival.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'll agree with you or anybody else who say that it probably was a good decision to take. I mean, lives lost, people die, that kind of thing, but governments kill people all over the world.
2026, game is the game.
Right? So, but I'm looking at what's happening in the Middle East, and I'm seeing a new economic order. A new order is forming, and that will have some kind of fallouts with respect with the world, in particular America, because China hasn't lost anything really. Russia is gaining tremendously, and stand to gain even more, right? So who's going to lose? America, and to some extent the Middle East. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Good evening again, gentlemen. Midterms is fastly approaching, so all who was hanging on to every step behind Donald Trump just might realize they was holding on to a rotten branch.
Nobody midterms wouldn't really change anything significantly, because he's not going to be out of office.
No, he won't be out of office, but it will change
You can't be out of office for midterms. He'll be out of office after 4 years.
Let me share it.
He might lose some Senate. He might lose some seats in the Senate.
So let me share it with you quickly so we don't lose it. If the balance of power changes as a result of the midterm, there is both a sitting president and a sitting vice president implicated in crimes against humanity and war crimes.
Okay, but
So-
tell me how he will be out of, how he will be still be the president of the
Because
US.
he will be impeached.
Threshold
and
of accountability raises.
No, don't worry about the accountability. If the impeachment articles of impeachment vote can carry, he will be removed from office, and the vice president will be.
But by the time that happens, it's time for election again. You think that's going to happen tomorrow?
I will give it 6 months. 6 months from midterms, Trump and Vance could be out of office. If that the midterms don't go the way.
Anyhow, I sent a video on the WhatsApp. I know it doesn't really play video and thing, but I saw it will pop up all your feed sometime because it's from in Parliament. But I know you have a lot of hope in this present bunch, Mr. Matheson. But when you look at that video, I would like you to tell me, out of that bunch of persons, which one of them will really implement and follow through with some of the many ideas that we hear on this program? Which one of them will forsake the urge to engage in this pettiness and really do what we pay them for? Because all we continue to see is people getting a set of kicks, playing games on Parliament time, the taxpayers' time, and the taxpayers' dime. Right? This is not what we sign up to pay for. Nonetheless, we still have to pay for it.
Okay.
We can't withhold the money from them. But when you get a chance, you will see just what I'm referring to, the attitude of both the opposition and the government members.
Thank you. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Madison and your co-host. Have you factored in Marco Rubio post-Trump bans?
Well, we have to.
You mean post-Trump?
Post-Trump and Vance.
Rubio?
Yeah, Marco Rubio.
Yeah, well, you see, you remember what happened to Nixon? What had happened to Nixon when articles of impeachment was and he stepped down? Who took over?
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make, I was listening to one of those American stations, and there seemed to be a trend towards some acceptance of Rubio as the prime minister to come. And I am saying, after Trump, after that 4 years, and I am saying, what has happened in terms of the geopolitics and the way America is perceived in the world, and America having to maintain the security and the economic whatever power is left. The only person they see now to take the helm, not the Democrats and all these, they have projected nobody at this point in time. There's nobody right now, given the state of America and the fact and the opposition to America internationally, to take the helm in America except outside of Marco Rubio. He's the man who's being projected. So I'm saying, if you look at policy, he may be aligned to Trump, but they have differences in terms of the thinking and the way they pursue matters internationally and domestically. So I'm saying that, folk, I am seeing, this is my view, that when people looking for change and understand Marco Rubio, he's thinking with respect to Cuba, he's thinking with respect to Venezuela and Latin America.
He's a Cuban, half Cuban and half Irish.
And he's thinking. So I'm saying that he is projected, and would the Americans feel safe in putting Marco Rubio or putting somebody with no experience, given the state of America, and America's role in the world today? He has the experience. He seemed to be accepted internationally. So I'm saying he's the man. I think that based on what I saw last week on one of those stations that anti-Trump, anti-Republicanism, they seem to favor him. And I'm saying, if I analyze the thing properly, he's the person like, outside of the Democrats put in somebody who is spectacular. He's the person to succeed. So when we talk about change in the Caribbean and change and what, it may not change that much.
Well, yeah.
So I'm just food for thought.
That is if the Republican could garner enough support to win our next election. I mean, we looking at the Democrats and we looking at this guy. In the
Democrats, but what they're saying, he's favored by the Hispanics, and the Hispanics has, they seem to have that strong support, that strong base, Republican, the Republican base that support Rubio. And I'm saying that when the election comes and the average American has to make a choice as to who to lead America given its status in the world today, they may be more inclined to go with Rubio. Unless the Democrats could put somebody who is spectacular. And I have not seen any one of them on the horizon.
I think Newsom looks promising, but what I would say is that, remember, there's a difference between MAGA and the Republican Party, yeah? And I believe that a lot of even the people in the Republican Party, they want a departure from MAGA politics and the return of traditional Republican politics. So
yeah, but when it is, you see, the Americans not like Trinidad, Trinidadians they don't care. They want their thing. But the Americans up there, they're concerned with America and what is in American interest.
That's different. That is a big difference. It's nationalism versus party.
Yes. So when the time comes to vote, and in terms of their interest, national interest, the welfare and well-being, the security of America internationally, with respect, they're looking for the best man. They're in business with I didn't like Trump, and listen, Trump gone. Who's the person who's likely to keep us safe? Because throughout you go to the Middle East, you see what's happening in Iran, you see what is happening with again, the people used to call those people in the South, right? Russia, all these people, you have conflict there. You have to have a strong person to stand up. And Rubio is the only man right now who seems to possess those qualities. So it's just food for thought. I listen to other people's view, in terms, but I'm saying that I just put it out there so that people probably might think about it and not forget that.
So caller, we're going to come to the end of the program and about the last 2 seconds. So good evening, and tomorrow we will certainly great show. We will see you tomorrow.
Tune into the Street 919 FM for Gospel in the Bone Ministry every Sunday from 7:05 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. for the program God's Last Warning Message, Hosea chapter